Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Nyoka lese Edo mopatase Motema ya mama tete Moninga ya Richard Okisi Vie ya papi soule Yasal Je suis en train de subir dilatation y a plaisir kilo y a bas souvenir y a sentiment et comme y concentré na motema ni sonanga et rêvé traverser à relief et à bolingo zoto flexible lo kole kwea ngani do patase ma voce ngoma tala ndenge yo vie fe uja bolingo vedo sika mote me komi o lâché pression leki mote me calé feu de l'amour est komi kosenga extincteur l'inspecteur Didi Kelo Kelo oh bascule vinanga nalolemo kurandera bolingo et pilote lia edo elekeli ngai par rêve d'amour na neti na film et cookies famille sourire d'amour na yo refrain ya ba nuance sensuelle maloba na yo plein de souffle.
It's Fali Ipupa, this one, opening up a Sunday of Tech Conversations this morning. It's the last Sunday of July. It's the last Sunday of June. And also just the week before the big month of July, because we are making our way, hopefully, to warmer temperatures. I can only hope. Look, born in January, I always advocate for warmer temperatures. I'm also that advocate of chasing summer all year. And Africa has got the best summer chasers and summer chasing spots that if you're running away from cold temperatures, you'll find yourselves at. It's Tech Africa. I am Puleng Molebatsi. I want you to be part of this conversation at Channel Africa 1 on all social media platforms. Please join, like, share, comment and make suggestions, because especially with this one, we want to be as busy as we can on social media at Channel Africa 1. Myself, I am Puleng Molebatsi on all those social media handles. Well, except for X, you'll find me at Puleng_PG. And so this morning is going to be a mix of everything. And before we get into it, a big thank you to Ntsako and Nombuso for the Oasis, bringing you to me, the capable hands. I'll make sure that you're also treated well until 12 midday today, where I leave you in the capable hands of Mateko Musito on planting the seed. So, it is the last Sunday and also the last weekend of June. We took time throughout the month to look at young people who are doing really cool things in their respective fields. So we are going to have one last conversation with young lady who is leading cyber security business. She has her own company, so she's going to tell us, girl, how do we also secure the bag? But being a young woman in that space, I find that it's quite relevant, because this also where opportunities of job opportunities or employment for other young people are at. So if you haven't upskilled yet and you're thinking, but which field? Maybe cybersecurity, amongst other things, could be what you can explore. And then we're going to have a conversation around Social Media Day, which is going to be on the 30th of June. There is an event that's happening at the University of Johannesburg. So pencil that one in and maybe show up, and you could make really, really cool connections. And for influencers as well. It's an opportunity to up your game. And lastly, the Durban July. I think that's why I said July instead of June, because it's a big, big month, that one, for people that are socialized and they like to uphold the tradition of the Durban July. You want to stick around for that one. Technology has got you covered. As for me, I suggest you do nothing else. You just stick around. You can stream us, www.channelafrica.co.za. You can tune in on YouTube at Channel Africa. Also on the DSTV or the bouquet, you'll find us there on Channel 802. Welcome to the show.
Hey there, this is Palesa Tau, part of the dynamic duo that gives you on the move right here on Channel Africa from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central Africa time. Well, it's with your help for the past 2 years that we have been a multi-award winning show.
Finally, yeah, we're keeping it on the move in 2025. And yes, I'm the other half of the duo, Benjamin Mushatama, and we're going to keep you going with the great conversations. Turn it up.
Okay. On the Move comes back in 2025 to give you more of the content that made us a Maldo and to deliver that bold, boundary-pushing content that you love. And of course, giving you a ride through the 3 hours of news, views, and entertainment.
Every weekday from 9 to midday Central African time, right here on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Cool.
Let's go.
Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go.
Ngenge mwami wedene na we mitenge yetiba na boma de waombaza basa wanongola mie mubande baba mamiso mongola tonino dolango ya pemba muna muto na boma wa ngenge mwami wedene na we mitenge yetiba na boma de waombaza basa wanongola mie mubande baba mamiso mongola tonino.
Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique, with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love.
Deka with Mauyengwe, and bringing us now to 20 minutes past 9 Central African time. Sunday morning rituals are so cool because on Sunday mornings, that's where you find people are together. That's if the others were not somewhere else instead of being where they're supposed to be. But yeah, back to Sunday morning rituals. They are the best because that's when people are like, bringing it together, coming back home to prepare for Monday, which is another big day. So finding that now it is the school holidays, what are you doing to keep those young ones busy? Because they have a tendency of coming to you as a parent and say, Mom or Dad, I'm bored. And you're like, hey, do you see who I am? I can't be your playmate. Do you also struggle as parents? Let me know. But there are really cool things that they can do online that will not consume them. We're going to unpack that a bit later on the show. But first, here's what we are getting ourselves into. This month, South Africa commemorates Youth Month. The conversation around education, empowerment, and it definitely does take center stage in a country that's grappling with growing tech skills gap. Red Academy is stepping in with an innovative solution, skills integration as a service. And there's also a model that equips young people with practical work-ready tech skills and boasts an impressive 96% graduate placement rate. Now, joining us on the line is Jessica Hoki, Managing Director of Red Academy. And she's going to unpack how practical tech education is not only transforming lives, but also fueling South Africa's digital economy. Good morning, Jessica. Welcome to Tech Africa.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
This is cool. This is really, really cool. Tell us about a bit of introduction about the Red Academy.
Absolutely. Red Academy has pioneered a new way for South African matriculant youth to enter skilled careers in technology. And we do this through bringing youth into the live environment from their very first day. So we train youth inside the workplace, and our training is customized to exactly what clients need. So nice. It's their operational processes, their tech stacks, and includes 6 months of work delivery so that candidates are equipped with the full skill sets that they need to be work ready for the employer. And that's perhaps, one of the main contributing factors as to why we have that 96% of our graduates going into employment in software teams after the program.
And with Youth Month indeed, and this one is actually the last weekend, and we are going to be just touching base on what it is that our youth are currently advocating for with, a lot of unemployment and having access to resources and education. With what you are doing with the Red Academy, helping to bridge the gap between young people and job opportunities in the tech space, what are the strategies that you have in place, or maybe success stories that you can share with us right now?
Absolutely. From our side, one of our strategies is to bring youth into the workplace from the very first day of the training. In this way, we combine both the theoretical knowledge as well as that workplace understanding, that workplace experience from the very first day. And I think when we look to what employers are asking for in terms of work-ready skill sets, when we look to the fact that there are 6.7 million children without an employed parent in their household in South Africa, bringing them into the workplace is so incredibly important. But then doing so in a 1-year process. So really fast tracking, from leaving matric to getting your first paycheck is incredibly important in South Africa, both for businesses and for youth. And some of our tremendous success stories are, for example, one of our ladies that was in matric and then at 19, entered a career as a junior software engineer in the workplace, and it showcases just how quickly you can launch a career in technology when picking the right training solution.
And I just want to have a look now at people that, or maybe specifically the young ones, young people who are looking to get into the tech space, and they just don't know, okay, so there's just so much, which one is lucrative right now? Is there even such a thing as, okay, if you take this particular course, it's more lucrative, it's got more opportunities, it's got more money, and it's in demand? Is there a specific tech skill that is in demand?
There are a number of tech skills that are in demand. When we look to the South African landscape, there is said to be 41,000 opportunities for youth, that are unfilled at the moment. So I would recommend, when looking to an opportunity, look to an opportunity where your studies are linked to potential employment at the end. That will be the most lucrative solution. But when looking to specific fields, software development and software engineering are always in demand. Depending on what your employer needs will depend on the type of tech stack that you go into. But then there's also a number of emerging technologies, whether it's quality engineering, that's a new approach to what was traditionally quality assurance. And then there's the AI roles, etc., that are emerging. But make sure that your training is up to date with what employers need and then linked to opportunities at the end.
So when you open opportunities for 2026 for potential candidates to apply?
We actually have 2 intakes a year, so we are just busy wrapping up our July intake at the moment, and that is in its final stages. And then, yes, in January, our new cohort will be starting, and we launch our applications in September. But we encourage applicants, so matriculant youth, youth with an attitude and aptitude for a career in technology, to apply. Come find out more about Red Academy and about the potential career paths that can be opened for you.
So most of these courses, Jessica, they happen online, or is there a one-on-one as well?
Our courses are full-time in person inside the workplace. We are currently operating in Cape Town, but absolutely looking to expand to open up more opportunities like this with further employers across South Africa to bring the tech talent pipeline into various corporates around the country. So we both look for youth partnerships as well as that of corporates.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for chatting to us this morning. And are there social media handles that people can follow?
Absolutely. It's redacademy.sa on our Instagram as well as our Facebook page. And then our website is redacademy.co.za.
Okay. Thank you once again for chatting to us this morning on Tech Africa.
Thank you very much.
That's my guest this morning, who's managing director at Red Academy, and it is Jessica Hockey bringing us to 9:28 Central African Time. Another conversation is waiting on the other side of this, so stick around. Google is also doing really, really cool things, and it's the kind of things that I also would recommend for your kids that spend a lot of time online. They're not just entertaining, but they also edutainment style. So we're going to unpack that. Not now, in the second hour of the show.
Tech Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
To the fact that we've got a very good opportunity to place on the global agenda various matters of concern to us because of this situation with regard to the G20.
President Becky, you have helped us move from the general to the specific. When we talk about African solutions for African problems, what does that mean? It has become a saying that we are saying daily. Everyone is saying this statement. What exact actions do we have to do as private sector, as government, even as NGOs? So thank you so much.
It is important and critical that when government puts together policies and frameworks on business, that it involves business itself. Business policies cannot be drafted and be expected to be implemented by business without business not having been involved.
And because of that, we, the Tanzanian business community, decided that we are going to rally the whole continent. I think if we took that resolution, I'm moving it as a resolution. And John Ambassador Mpongwe said he's going to second me. During this Africa Month. And we paid attention to the fact that we've got a very good opportunity to place on the global agenda various matters of concern to us because of this situation with regard to the G20.
President Becky, you have helped us move from the general to the specific. When we talk about African solutions for African problems, what does that mean? It has become a saying that we are saying daily. Everyone is saying this statement. What exact actions do we have to do as private sector, as government, even as NGOs? So thank you so much.
It is important and critical that when government puts together policies and frameworks on business that it involves business itself. Business policies cannot be drafted and be expected to be implemented by business without business not having been involved.
And because of that, we, the Tanzanian business community, decided that we are going to rally the whole continent. I think if we took that resolution, I'm moving it as a resolution. And John, Ambassador Mbongo said he's going to second me during this Africa Month. And we paid attention to the fact that we've got a very good opportunity to place on the global agenda various matters of concern to us because of this situation with regard to the G20.
President Becky, you have helped us move from the general to the specific. When we talk about Africa's solutions for African problems, what does that mean? It has become a saying that we are saying daily. Everyone is saying this statement. What exact actions do we have to do as private sector, as government, even as NGOs? So thank you so much.
It is important and critical that when government puts together policies and frameworks on business, that it involves business itself. Business policies cannot be drafted and be expected to be implemented by business without business not having been involved.
And because of that, we, the Tanzanian business community, decided that we are going to rally the whole continent. I think if we took that resolution, I'm moving it as a resolution. And John, Ambassador Mbongo said he's going to second me during this Africa Month. And we paid attention to the fact that we've got a very good opportunity to place on the global agenda various matters of concern to us because of this situation with regard to the G20.
President Becky, you have helped us move from the general to the specific. When we talk about Africa's solutions for African problems, what does that mean? It has become a saying that we are saying daily. Everyone is saying this statement. What exact actions do we have to do as private sector, as government, even as NGOs? So thank you so much.
It is important and critical that when government puts together policies and frameworks on business, that it involves business itself. Business policies cannot be drafted and be expected to be implemented by business without business not having been involved.
And because of that, we, the Tanzanian business community, decided that we are going to rally the whole continent. I think if we took that resolution, I'm moving it as a resolution. And John, Ambassador Mbongo said he's going to second me during this Africa Month. And we paid attention to the fact that we've got a very good opportunity to place on the global agenda various matters of concern to us because of this situation.
Dube with a song called Victims. Still sounds so fresh. So many nostalgic feelings I get when I hear this track. Makes me want to go back to that township with no worry in the world, running barefoot on the street, just happy to be there. But let's get back into the swing of things, into the business of the day. This one is Tech Africa that you're listening to. It happens every single Sunday right here on the station with an African perspective. I don't recommend you listen to anything else on a Sunday morning because we cater to the right kind of African tracks that we know that you need on a Sunday morning and the right kind of African conversations that are very, very important to set up your week to a good start. Now, as cloud adoption matures across the continent, many businesses are starting to rethink their strategies, not because the cloud failed them, but because they're becoming more intentional about what works best for their operations. Now, a growing number of companies are turning to cloud repatriation, and are also moving workloads from public cloud to hypercolors back to private or local environment. Still also sounds very big jargony, but I do have someone who's on standby who's going to unpack all of this, starting with what it means for it to be called cloud repatriation. And I do have Lee Sace on the line, and he is from Routed. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning, Puleng. How are you?
Good. Big words on a Sunday morning. Too early.
Definitely a lot to digest.
Yeah, but let's start with what does it mean when you say cloud repatriation?
Yeah, it's an interesting point, Puleng. But basically what we're referring to is typically we have a category of cloud providers that's termed hyperscalers. Okay. And those are typically American organizations that have built large-scale cloud environments that enterprises are adapting or adopting over the past couple of years. So the names or the common names that you would recognize is people like Amazon, or with their Amazon Web Services offering, Microsoft with their Azure offering, Google with the Google Cloud Platform offering. These are large-scale cloud environments. And what's typically happened over the past couple of years is that there's been this hype around adoption and them satisfying a lot of use cases for enterprises in order to run enterprise applications that serve their business. And the whole repatriation scenario is around people maturing and actually understanding the use case for these cloud environments and understanding that it's not fit for purpose for everything that an enterprise would require for enterprise applications that runs their businesses. And organizations through that maturity are now deciding to look at other options and actually consider the alternative options for certain segment of applications that typically would go to a hyperscaler cloud. And I think that's the journey or the notion of repatriation that is happening at the moment.
Okay, so there's also this perception that if you move away from the public cloud, it is seen as a step backwards. And why do you think or believe it's actually a sign of business maturing?
The main purpose of this is people understanding and maturing what the public cloud or hyperscale cloud actually provides from a value proposition to your organization and the way that serves your clients. And at this stage, many organizations are not moving everything out of the public cloud, but using it for the right purpose and considering or being mature to the fact that the alternative options for a large segment of applications that is quite reliant on for enterprises doesn't need to go to the hyperscale cloud, and there are alternatives out there. And that's where Rooted comes into play, is that we offer a locally hosted private cloud, either single tenanted or multi-tenanted for organizations, which is a balance between a customer wanting to build their own private cloud and run application sets themselves versus a client actually moving everything to a public cloud. Because you get certain benefits of a public cloud in a locally hosted cloud, but the security and isolation and predictability of a private cloud. So the reason we motivate that maturity is just people understanding where it's fit for purpose at this stage and not just moving everything into one option, if I could put it as such.
Okay, so are there specific businesses, Lee, or organizations that benefit more from repatriation in comparison to others?
So the businesses are quite vast in relation to scale. So we're seeing in South Africa, repatriation is probably not at the hype of what it is in Europe, as an example. And there's many reasons that repatriation is happening. I'll name a few, but there's a governance and a compliance element to it. So if things need to stay sovereign in nature and sovereignty is a risk for an organization, that could be a compelling reason. Another compelling reason could be cost, and it's a big compelling reason. Cost as well as the cost versus the benefit that you're getting for the functionality that you're leveraging off the public cloud. And these compelling events are seen to be impacting different variety of clients as well as different scale of clients. So we're seeing smaller clients and the larger enterprises actually being impacted by this. So it's a notion of any company that is reliant on digital applications in order to run their business, and that is a large array of things that they serve or they operate in their organization. These would be a consideration for them. So I wouldn't put it in a specific bucket. There's a variety of clients and different scale of clients that are impacted.
Yeah. So, but then what would be needed in terms of preparations to successfully repatriate workload?
There's an analysis that needs to happen. So if you think of a journey a client would typically go through, a typical enterprise or small to medium-sized enterprise, if they were to move to a public cloud, the source that they would typically be on would be their own infrastructure. They've put capital down on to invest in. They've invested time in engineering expertise in order to build that. Yeah. And the deciding factor was to either move a portion of what they're running themselves into a public cloud, or in some scenarios, clients have moved everything. And when now understanding the challenges that you're experiencing once you've got to your destination of public cloud, the preparation that needs to occur after the fact is, if you were to look at an alternative, what would that alternative be? And from a preparation perspective, would it be you going and starting back at square one by building and financing your own assets in order to run this yourself? Or is there an alternative middle ground? And that's where we tend to position ourselves as Rooted Hosting, is as a cloud and a local South African cloud operator. We feel that we are a very fit for purpose middle ground. We solve the challenge of clients having to reinvest in equipment and start back from ground zero. There was compelling events why they moved, or a compelling reason for why they moved away from that in the first place. But we position ourselves as an alternative where, as I mentioned earlier, a middle ground between running it yourself versus moving to a public cloud. You get benefits of both. And that adds a lot of value to clients. So from a preparation, people need to consider what are the alternatives. You don't have to go back to where you started. And when you're looking at alternatives, you need to look at the credibility of that organization you're moving to. What is the unique value proposition they have in the market? And we find that we've got quite a unique value proposition by being specialists in that and staying in our lane, focusing heavily on engineering and making sure we provide high SLA, business critical type services, or business critical platform that runs business critical applications to service clients' applications.
All rightly. Lastly, I just want you to maybe give advice then to a company that's sitting with the decision to either stay with a hyperscaler or consider cloud repatriation.
So firstly, I want to start by saying hyperscalers are not bad. They have a place. They've got very advanced and highly engineered services that they've implemented that makes sense for a certain segment of applications. If you're building new applications, leveraging off some of the platform services that they provide, there's good options that you could leverage from there. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's fit for purpose for everything. So my advice would be is look at alternatives. Consider things about sovereignty, consider things around having data local in country, consider things about how finance is managed, how metering and billing is managed in the destination you're going to. Do your research in that regard, and the fit for purpose or the solution that makes sense for your business typically would come out of that. And there are alternative options locally built in South Africa by South Africans, like Rooted Hosting, that provides a very compelling offering for enterprises, for all small to medium and large enterprises.
All right, Lee. Are you on LinkedIn?
I am. So I am personally, as well as the company.
Yeah.
And we also have quite a strong website that's quite clear and concise in regard to our offering, how you could contact us. There's a contact form in order to engage with us as well, www.rooted.co.za. So yeah, we've gotten quite a good online presence.
All right. And on LinkedIn, then they'll find you as Lee Says, correct?
That's correct, yes.
All right. Thank you so much for chatting to us this morning. May you have a fantastic Sunday going forward.
Thank you very much, Puleng. You have a great day further as well.
Thank you, Lee. And that's how we wrap up all the conversations in the first hour of the show. Tried to really be considerate. It's still a morning anyway, so we don't want to rush through a lot of talk this morning. So we'll kind of also just play music in between so that you catch up with what you need to catch up on. But I strongly suggest you catch up with us on social media. TikTok is a Channel Africa One. Same with Facebook, Instagram, and X. So let's keep these conversations going, and don't be afraid to say, hey, I heard you discuss this and that. I didn't quite get it, or I didn't quite catch everything, which then you can feel free to either keep up with the guests that we have on the show or on their social media pages. It's mostly businesses, so you'll find them on LinkedIn. Or you can catch our clippings in terms of our conversations, a mini, concise audio visual, which you can always refresh on. You'll catch it on our social media handles. It could be during the show or shortly after the show. We promise we'll deliver on that as well. But more than anything, we'd like for you to also spread the word that you can also catch us on the SABC Plus app, and you really can listen to us anywhere in the world. I'd like to stress that. And that's it in terms of the conversation. Let's also prepare for the second hour with more great talk coming your way. You don't want to touch that dial. Stick around.
Tech Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Ginger me with pillow talking pretty things. Oh, ginger me by candlelight and long walks by the lagoon. Ginger me with intellect and wine. Ginger me, boy, with kindness and cool. Yes. Ginger me slowly. Yes, oh. Ginger me.
Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks. Her name is Puleng Molebatsi, and she's on Tech Africa.
Baby, you lost again today. Maybe it's not your place, this game. See how your friend he dance for day. I see you. Yeah. They told you you're not meant for this. Not true. Why you did foxy for me? Who call you? They don't know your dream within you. Yeah. Cry all night, I'm sorry. They told you you're not good enough. Hey, not them be a god, baby. They don't know your dream within you now. I stand strong, I saw it.
During this Africa Month. And we paid attention to the fact that we've got a very good opportunity to place on the global agenda various matters of concern to us because of this situation with regard to the G20.
President Becky, you have helped us move from the general to the specific. When we talk about African solutions for African problems, what does that mean? It has become a saying that we are saying daily. Everyone is saying this statement. What exact actions do we have to do as private sector, as government, even as NGOs? So thank you so much for
It is important and critical that when government puts together policies and frameworks on business, that it involves business itself. Business policies cannot be drafted and be expected to be implemented by business without business not having been involved.
And because of that, we, the Tanzanian business community, decided that we are going to rally the whole continent. I think if we took that resolution, I'm moving it as a resolution. And John Ambassador Mbongo said he's going to second me.
with Stand Strong, kind of just reminding us of the power of the human spirit. That most of the time, these solutions that we're actually looking for outside of ourselves, they're actually inside ourselves. So you are the solution that you're looking for. Now, one institution that's going to be very grateful that it went to the social media summit that's taking place on the 30th is government officials. If you attend, or even if you send a representative, you'll walk away with information, speaking specifically for South African government, with information that could actually work for you in the long run. I'm going to unpack that a bit just now because we took a double play, and I think for people that love Somi, they will appreciate just mentioning that we started a double play with Somi with a song called Ginger Me Slowly, released back in 2014 in the album called Sounds of Lagos Music Salon, and that made up our double play this morning, bringing us to 2 minutes before 10 o'clock. Now back to the social media summit. Yeah, no. Also, this winter hasn't been very kind to my chest, so we are going to take things slowly this morning as we make our way to midday. That's where we end our show. So the social media summit is going to be held at the University of Johannesburg on the 30th, and they are actually inviting the public as well as relevant stakeholders to come and walk away with information that could actually help them in terms of communicating better with the public and looking specifically on how the government can use social media to its advantage and communicate information in real time and be able to reach people in a matter that is actually convenient for them, because who isn't on the social media streets? Almost everybody is on social media. So that's what the social media summit is going to be focusing on, and because the 30th of June, it is World Social Media Day, I'm going to be talking to Lorato Tekeng shortly after 10 o'clock, exactly at 10:15. That's where we'll have that conversation. So stick around for that and so much more. Also, as we do our profile of a young lady who is taking up space in cybersecurity and inspiration, as well as an employer working with other young people. That's what we like to hear. And I think sometimes it's good to hear good news. So let's park things here for this hour. I'll see you after 10 o'clock. Let's go to the news now.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Puleng. Top stories this hour. Mixed reactions in DRC following a brokered peace deal with Rwanda, and U.S. Senate debates President Trump's tax and spending bill. Good morning. The signing of a U.S. brokered peace agreement between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda has been met with mixed reactions amongst Congolese citizens, with some expressing support for the deal, while others are opposed to it. The agreement was signed in the U.S. capital of Washington, D.C. on Friday. Chris Okamringa reports.
The DRC has long accused Rwanda of backing the M23 rebels in order to plunder its minerals, but Rwandan authorities have denied the charge and accused the DRC of backing a militia of ethnic Hutus who seek to destabilize their country. For some Congolese, the deal has raised hopes of ending the M23 conflict that has left thousands of people dead and displaced millions of others since late 2021. But others are pessimistic, arguing that the deal focuses more on the geopolitical, security and economic interests of Rwanda and the U.S. as opposed to the protection of Congolese civilians. The U.S. government is set to sign a separate deal with the DRC that will grant American firms access to the DRC's strategic minerals.
And South African government has given the public until tomorrow to submit comments on the review of the 1998 White Paper on local government. The review is aimed at modernizing the 1998 White Paper to address current challenges facing municipalities and ensure effective local governance in the country. The process comes as most municipalities are plagued by revenue collection challenges, corruption and the politicization of municipalities, among others. Sabelo Chalufu is a local government expert and a former Johannesburg councillor.
There's a problem with the interface between politicians, the administrators, and the residents. And one of the big elements in that problem is that it's almost like the politicians seem to believe that they are all powerful. And so they end up attempting to do the work of the administrators instead of exercising oversight over them. So you find councillors instructing officials instead of, for instance, facilitating things like, when there are service delivery breakdowns.
Onto this now, the Southern African Alcohol Policy Alliance, SAPA, has called for stricter policies to be implemented to curb the wider variety of alcohol distribution in communities. SAPA held a media dialogue about the dangers relating to alcohol and its lack of coverage in South Africa. SAPA's Secretary General Adelaila Marka-Diderix says the accessibility of alcohol and limited legislation affects vulnerable populations like the youth.
We need to acknowledge that people in the northern countries have become more alcohol literate, and there are more regulations in the countries in the north. So the alcohol industry is coming to the African continent, particularly sub-Saharan Africa, where we've got limited legislation and we've got a pool of young people to be captured.
And the wage dispute between the defending Women's Africa Cup of Nations champions, Banyana Banyana, and the South African Football Association has been resolved. Speaking after the SAFA Congress held in Sandton, SAFA CEO Lydia Munyabao acknowledged that matches bonuses weren't paid, but said the matter was now being settled. The players refused to attend a training session in Casablanca due to unpaid wages. Meanwhile, the planned motion for Danny Jordan is set to step aside as president of the South African Football Association has not been discussed. At least 4 SAFA regions intended to table the motion at the SAFA Congress in Sandton, but the matter was not discussed. Jordan is out on bail due to his ongoing court case after being arrested and charged for fraud last year. Onto this now, the U.S. Senate has voted to debate President Trump's tax and spending bill. The voting and horse trading extended over 3 hours. The sprawling domestic policy package runs to over 900 pages. It includes restrictions on one of the biggest components of federal spending, Medicaid, the healthcare program relied on by millions of Americans. The BBC's Carl Nassam has the details.
So a 51-49 vote in favor of this key procedural hurdle to now bring debate on the big, beautiful bill to the floor of the Senate. Vice President J.D. Vance not needed in the end to break that tie, so definitely a win for the president. We should say that doesn't mean that the bill has passed. It doesn't mean the bill has even cleared the Senate yet. It's just now opening up that debate within the Senate. We'll see if the Republicans can now get those same numbers to clear the bill from the Senate chamber, bring it back to the House. Any changes will need to be approved there.
A recap of your top story. The signing of a U.S. brokered peace agreement between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda has been met with mixed reactions among Congolese citizens, with some expressing support for the deal while others are opposed to it. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I am Matapela Mahape.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
A big thank you to Matapelo Mahape for bringing us the news. She's been here bright and early, delivering bulletins at the top of every hour. She's with us still until top of the hour, 11 o'clock. That will be the last bulletin for today. And then you can catch the news again tomorrow. And I've been going on and on and on about WhatsApp. Here's the WhatsApp line that you need to be familiar with. I actually strongly suggest you memorize, right? +27, just don't memorize. I think with phones and reminders and this and that and speed dial, and if you forget a number, you can catch someone here. we don't memorize numbers anymore because you'll find it somewhere. You don't need to take a pen and paper. Back in the day, that trouble made you memorize. But people, do you still memorize numbers like at the top of your head? I don't. There's only one that stuck with me because I used to use it when I was a teen, and that is that of my adopted mom. But other than that, even my number, I don't even know it off by heart. All right, let's get back into it now. This WhatsApp number is +27 63406 9126. That's the number that you can get in touch with us on WhatsApp and share your thoughts on everything that we are discussing today. I'd like to hear how you're keeping your little one or the school kids entertained during the school holidays. For those that are actually on school holiday, how are you keeping them entertained, making sure that they don't consume too much YouTube? Because, man, the things that I'm seeing on YouTube, I can't believe it myself. All right, we're going to have a chat about Social Media Summit. Shortly after this, we'll kickstart the show, though, now with Usimpiwe Dana. Very nice and poised at all times. And this time she is saying Vilakazi Street.
Africa Update on Channel Africa.
Over 35 organizations are expected to converge at the Union Buildings in Pretoria over illegal immigrants in South Africa. They say South Africa is facing a myriad of challenges and that foreign nationals are worsening the situation. Yes, Khutato, just take us through the main aims of the march, what you're hoping to get from them.
So we are basically saying to the President of the Republic of South Africa, illegal immigration is a pandemic. Implement the laws. It's not that we don't have these laws. How many people are being human trafficked? How many people are being hijacked? Our schools are full. Our hospitals are full. And it's almost as if we're carrying the burdens of the entire Africa at the expense of South Africans. And we are basically saying enough is enough. We want the President of the Republic of South Africa to meet us at the Union Building. We've submitted letters to say that we are coming on this day. We want to meet with him there to give him this mandate because clearly he has failed citizens. He's failed South Africans by failing to implement the law. That's the most important thing. We are going to give you a mandate. We, the people, shall govern.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu on Channel Africa every weekday from 12 to 2 p.m. Tech Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Welcome to Vilakazi Street. The street that never sleeps.
Let us eat, praise, and dance. Oh, Vilakazi Street. Oh, Vilakazi Street.
Africa is a story. A living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent. African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices. English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story. A living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift.
Elaine Chepa bringing us to now 14 minutes before top of the hour. It's 14 minutes just after top of the hour, 10 o'clock. We still have plenty to get through before top of the hour, 11 o'clock. So I can see it from there. That's when we will give you the last bulletin of the day, but also prepare you for what's happening on the other side of 11 o'clock. I mentioned earlier on that Google is doing really cool things, and the ones that I find to be something that actually for creative kids, especially kids, kids have got this thing with their dolls where they want to dress them up, and sometimes your house will be full of toys everywhere. How about all of that becomes digital? If they've got a tablet they have, and they love fashion and makeup. This games before where you could try out different looks and stuff, but what Google has done through their program is you can try out clothes just by putting your photo there. So the kids can play dress up without playing dress up. And it's another way of getting the kids to be creative if they love fashion and makeup without having to go through the items themselves. You can find something online that you like, and then you just put your picture there and it will show you what you would look like. So I think it's very realistic. It's a modern way of playing dress up without having to go to the shops to go and pick up clothes. But also if you've got a doll, you could also put your doll there and you can play dress up digitally. There's quite a lot more also in terms of also how they have simplified videos in terms of making your own videos using deepfake videos. And we are going to unpack that also. But right now, let's get into this a particular conversation which I alluded to earlier on, that the 30th of June is actually Social Media Day, and the University of Johannesburg has put together a summit, and it is also going to shape how we connect, engage, and the South African government will have an opportunity to see how they can use that to govern. And in South Africa, this movement is marked by a powerful gathering, otherwise known as the Social Media Summit for Government 2025, and it's going to be hosted by Decode Communication and the University of Johannesburg. And now with the theme Empowering Government Through Digital Connections, the summit will focus on how public institutions can build trust, engage citizens, and deliver services more effectively through innovative use of social media. Now joining me on the line is Lorato Tseking, who is CEO of Decode Communications, and to unpack what this engagement means for the future of government communication in digital world. Good morning, and thank you so much for your time, Lorato.
Good morning, Puleng, and good morning to the listeners across our wide African continent.
Thank you for being here. I want us to have a look at this, and quite interesting, really. Will you have the relevant people in the room? Because I know young people will definitely attend this.
Yes, no, definitely we have the relevant people in the room. So, for instance, we open the first speaker that is kicking us off is the executive mayor of the city of Tshwane, and many will know the city of Tshwane as after New York, after Washington. The city of Tshwane has the most number of embassies and consulates, right? So besides its significance just being the administrative capital of South Africa, it's also, on the global stage that's significant. And the reason here it is because this is somebody who, wrote her thesis on nation building, but and she's then her PhD thesis, Dr. Nasipi Moya, and she's now demonstrating how, or at least the importance of citizen engagement, when you're doing governance, because sometimes a lot of the politicians and public representatives think that governance is just about them doing the work and missing the step of connecting and communicating with citizens. You and I and your listeners, on a regular basis, we interface with a number of government services, whether it's in health through clinics, hospitals, or whether it's through, looking for important documents such as birth certificates, death certificates at, home affairs kind of departments, right? But we know that at all those points of interface, there are always challenges, whether the system is offline or whether there would be one policy that has changed that affects citizens. And the importance, therefore, is the linkage between the citizens who need this service and the communicators who then empower the citizens to say, on a day when our system is offline, don't drive all the way or take a taxi all the way to a service point, while they could have used social media to communicate citizens, to inform them, therefore saving time and saving the money, the little money that they don't have.
Okay. And I just want us to have a look at a broader view now of how, of course, social media has changed the relationship between citizens and government. And is it building more trust or creating some sort of new challenges?
I think it's a bit of both, Puleng, right? So if you consider what was happening in Kenya last week, right? They were celebrating, or they were commemorating the anniversary of the protests, the nationwide protests that they had throughout the country last year, as a way of demonstrating to the government of the day their own displeasure and dissatisfaction, right? And this is when citizens demonstrate that we are displeased about a decision that you've made, and we are going to demonstrate. And the mobilization was mainly through social media, where a lot of the younger people in Kenya were using social media to share information with one another, know where they are going to gather, but importantly, what it is that they should be mobilizing around. Even in South Africa, you can think about the 2021 July unrest, right, which was the biggest and the most destructive unrest, which cost the economy 50 billion South African rands, and there were over 300 people that died during that 8-day period, right? So the use of social media was the biggest tool that was used to mobilize citizens, inform citizens, and even the other who could, protect their infrastructure. And you see in all of that it's a thing that, to your question, that when trust is broken, what is the utility of social media in, putting out information, ensuring that citizens are able to organize themselves and mobilize? Of course, on the flip side is where you now see a number of government, organizations, such as in South Africa, from a corruption busting point of view, we have a special investigations unit, which is meant to, collect money from people that would have gotten money nefariously, right? And you see them using social media in such a good way where once they have investigated a matter, they then literally utilize social media to give us the backstory. And therefore, you don't just see, or you don't just have to depend on a court of law for us to understand and know the matter. So I'm saying in that way, it is building trust, because then citizens the trust is growing in this particular agency, that when they say that they're busting corruption, indeed they are, because there's a lot of transparency in how they do their work and how they eventually recover the money that you and I as citizens need for health and for many other services.
All right, so you at Decode Communications, you offer some training on digital communications, but what other gaps are there for the government to be able to make use of social media effectively?
The one biggest gap, Puleng, is that we're finding that many government departments and government heads, they don't prioritize social media as a way of connecting with citizens, right? So it's almost an afterthought. So that is the first thing that we try and look at, to say, let us showcase where other government entities have and public institutions have utilized social media to get to citizens. And you think about a hospital as an example, right? And one of the things that we've been able to at least influence is to say, if you are a Dr. George Mukari Hospital, which is in a township called Garankuwa in Pretoria, right? Majority of the people there speak Setswana. So the people on Facebook would ask questions in Setswana, would want to communicate with the hospital in Setswana, which is the indigenous language of the people in and around that area. And the question to the social media managers has been, why do you insist on responding back in English? Right? You can actually do a dual response where you respond in Setswana and you also respond in so that way you then, and that is pervasive throughout the African continent, where you have many indigenous languages, but people believe that because the business communication language is only stick to English, and you therefore, you are now leaving a lot of citizens, because, and it's not only about, being literate, but it is about the comfort levels. People are comfortable speaking in their own language. Therefore, as a government department and entity, do that as well. The second and the one that we're grappling with is AI, right? There's a lot of fear around what AI is all about, what it does, whether it's going to steal information, and you're realizing that the adoption with government is then a lot slower. So if you look at corporate companies, they've adopted, firstly, they have governance mechanisms to make sure that, people do it ethically, and then there's a high adoption. But in government and public services, it is taking a lot longer, Puleng, and that is a concern. And that one of the things that we advocate for is the agility in the adoption, because technology does not wait. Its evolution does not wait, right? And the longer we take to adopt, it therefore means that we are disadvantaging ourselves, but we are also disadvantaging the beneficiaries of the utility of these platforms, which are the citizens.
Yeah, that is so true. So also in terms of the what will be happening on the day, what else can people expect, those that are looking to make it? And do you even still have space? Because I'm thinking, what if some people just found out today and they would like to attend tomorrow? Do you still have space, or you already packed the venue?
Sadly, all the in-person seats have been taken, but the virtual, we have virtual seats that are tickets that are still available. People can visit our website deco.co.za, and they will then be able to find out about the summit and get to buy the virtual tickets. In terms of the big thing really that is happening, besides Dr. Nasipi Moya, who's the city manager of Tshwane, there are number of panel discussions that will be happening. One of them being in AI and in the public sector communication. We are having a conversation around podcasting in the public sector. You and I, we know that we've always loved and enjoyed the traditional media. But if you think about what Channel Africa has actually done compared to a number of many other traditional radio stations, you are online. You are digital, right? So essentially, you are the first podcast, or at least one of the earliest podcast stations, as it were, because a lot of the podcasts, live on some platform digitally, can be accessed, post the conversations, and that is one of the things that conversations we are having on podcasting. Of course, government is always in crisis, and I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying always. And we are then going to also have a panel that will be covering, how communicators can, utilize moments of crisis to communicate and engage with citizens. And we have, a number of good experts. And lastly, we have our keynote speaker, which is Prof. Eldred Jordan, who's a professor of practice at the University of Johannesburg Business School. And he's one of those people that started early when South Africa had its first social media network, which was called Mixit. It's no longer there, but a lot of young people utilize that platform, right? And he's then going to be sharing insights on what it is that made that social networking platform work, and what can we then today, look into and ensure that we captivate the audiences, because that is the thing really, right? Even at Channel Africa, your thing is that everyone who's both on the continent and in the diaspora who likes your content, the question is, how do you keep us engaged? How do you keep us listening to the next conversation, the next show, and be tuned in the following day? So that is what Professor Eldred Jordan will then be trying to help us really think about.
All right, now I would actually, the question I would ask if I would be there or if I was going to go, it's what killed Mixit actually, And I mean, I know why it worked, because it was a very first chat platform, which was very easy to use, to maneuver. But what killed it? I mean, that's what I've always wanted to know. Couldn't it have matured into something else? Because it just disappeared.
I have a suggestion. That is so immediately after his talk, I'm going to be having a Q&A. I'm going to quote you to say, question is from Puleng. She may not be here, but she's asking what killed Mixit, and you must answer that, and we'll share back with you once we have the answer.
Thank you for that. I think many people want to know as well. All right, Lorato, thank you so much for chatting to us this morning. And you say you're still selling virtual tickets.
Yes, we are.
Where?
The virtual tickets are on our website, which is decode.co.za. And when they're on the website, they go to a section which is called GovCom Social. They will find the tickets there. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much once again for joining us. And it's quite an interesting conversation that I actually believe, it's one that needs to be had at least not just once a year, but at least twice a year, because there's a lot of young people that would appreciate an open consistency as well, platform where they can catch up on what's going on with the government.
Thank you so much, Kaizeli, and to your listeners, a great Sunday.
All right. And that's Lorato Thinking, who is from Decode Communications. Tomorrow, they are hosting a social media summit 2025 at the University of Johannesburg. As for me, I'm going to take a breather because you talking for too long. Need to always refresh. So we're going to refresh with a song that will bring us to our another great guest, and she is in cybersecurity as an entrepreneur, but also creating other opportunities for other young people.
Her name is Puleng Molebatsi, and she's on Tech Africa.
Tenho uma lágrima no canto do olho, tenho uma lágrima no canto do olho, tenho
povozinha está sozinha, a ver a morte aproximar. Sacrifícios aumentados redobram nosso padecer. Tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho. Se um dia mais, se um dia ao menos pudessem ver e ter na corrida para o poder, primeiro pão para se comer. Tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho. Velhos e velhas chorando da alegria passageira, com a promessa da conversa dos homens da nossa terra. Tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho. Velhos outrora respeitados, era assim nos outros tempos. Hoje amizade e família são manobrados pelo contexto. Tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho. Os velhos morreram cedo, os filhos irão também. Filhos pequenos estão com medo da situação que se mantém. Tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho. Olhos castiços embaciados, olhos vorazes comendo tudo, olhos doentes empobrecidos, olhos molhados emancipados. Tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho. Está sozinha a ver a morte aproximar. Sacrifícios aumentados redobram nosso padecer. Tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho. Se um dia mais, se um dia ao menos pudessem ver e ter na corrida para o poder, primeiro pão para se comer. Tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho. Velhos e velhas chorando da alegria passageira, com a promessa da conversa dos homens da nossa terra. Tem uma lágrima no canto do olho, tem uma lágrima no canto do olho.
Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepu Kholikweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile.
This one on River Tip, talking about By the River. Sauti Soul. Sounds very good. Love it. He's got that distinct sound that you don't miss. You can hear by the sound that that's Sauti Soul. And before that, we took Olos Mohalos by Bonga. And that track is from all the way in Angola. And right now, let's get back to South Africa. And I've got a business owner on the other side of this call. As we draw close to Youth Month, and we're not only just reflecting on our past, but on the future that is being shaped by bold young leaders across the country. And this year, we shine a light on a young woman who is breaking barriers and driving transformation in their fields. And one such woman is Vanessa Sikati, who is a cybersecurity service manager at the Standard Bank Group, from leading the threat intelligence at top telecoms company to advocating for youth empowerment through tech education. Vanessa is proof that young women are not just participating, they are also in the lead, taking charge and part of innovation. Hi, Vanessa.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about what you do.
Well, in short, I catch bad guys, or I right now assist the team to catch bad guys. Right now, I drive policy within the cybersecurity team at my employer.
Ah, okay. Also, you are with a company. You're just leading the department.
So yes, no, I'm not. I don't have a particular business right now, but yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So, it took you a lot of preparation, and I want to get to what that preparation is. What did you have to do in terms of education, mentorship if you needed a mentor, and just finding yourself in the right place that you've always wanted to be at. The road to success has twists and turns, and sometimes it takes people so long to get there. Share a bit about your journey.
All right. So I went to the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls. I obviously, that helped me in kickstarting or having opportunities that I could go into any field that I want, because what Mom Oprah tells us is that you can be anything that you want, and she wanted us to sit at the tables where decisions are made that affect the country, that affect the world. She wanted us to be change makers in whatever field that we would go into. So when you go to that school, you're able to dream. So then I decided that I wanted to be a woman in tech, and I moved on to the University of Johannesburg. And with that came challenges, of course. I didn't get into the qualification that I wanted to, so I had to divert and go into a diploma at the time. Then at some point I found myself working and studying because I now had to support myself. I had lost my funding, and then I went into the world of cybersecurity, where I was something called a SOC analyst. So what a SOC analyst did was it looked for bad stuff on our systems and made sure like there weren't any malware, or get any attackers or hackers out if they were in our network.
Yeah.
So that was 8 years ago when I started that journey. I am now in management, working for one of the top financial services companies in Africa.
Okay, management. Very good. Do you mind if I ask you how old you are, Vanessa? I mean, not to pry.
No, I don't mind at all.
Yeah.
It gives someone out there hope. I'm only 30 years old.
Wena man, hamba wena gele. All right.
Thank you.
And for young people that are listening right now, and they're like, Bo Vanessa really kapile, we are just caparizing you guys here on planet Earth. Why are things not happening for us? You alluded to the fact that you had to take a different route, and then you were still working and paying for your studies to be here. So it didn't just happen overnight. But do you feel the foundation was laid in high school for you, or it's about also having a mentorship like Oprah Winfrey, a mentor such as Oprah Winfrey?
Mom Oprah was definitely pivotal in laying the foundation for us. But I also come from a single mom household, so she was also definitely, she worked very hard to be able to put food on the table. So that made me dream bigger and say I wanted to make family and for my mom. But Mom Oprah definitely, she gave us the best education. She gave us the best resources in the country to be able to help us in navigating those difficult and to be able to move past those backgrounds that we were coming from. Along the lines also, I was fortunate enough to have people who guided me, people in management, who wanted the best for me and who saw potential in me, and helped me move. I some of the jobs I don't even know how I got, but someone saw something in me. But I also worked hard in the roles that I had come into. I made sure that I knew the companies that I was working for. It takes time, but working hard, talking to people, finding out things, asking questions, not sleeping until you're figuring out things. Those are some of the key characteristics that you need to be able to be successful.
Okay. And just listening to you, I'm like, oh man, look at that. And listen to that, rather, like a young person who's just generally motivated. I also just think, guys, instead of looking for things outside of ourselves and looking at what goes wrong, you need to find motivation, man. Things that will keep you going, even when everything is not working your way. Because, one thing about life is that it's uncertain. There will be a lot of uncertainty in life. That's guaranteed. So
Absolutely.
If you have a strong core and something that keeps you going and motivated, you'll be fine, really. Yes, you do need people there, here and there, to lift you up, to open a door for you, to point you to the right direction. But internal motivation, it's consistent, is also a good push there. So let's also just have a look at what you do now into the professional side of things. In cybersecurity, what are the demands of this job? Is it long hours in the office? Does it give flexibility in terms of working anywhere in the world and not having to be office specific?
Absolutely. I'm in a very great field. I know there's always controversies around cybersecurity and women in it as well. Um, I will admit it was difficult when I began. I used to work long hours, 12 hours, 12-hour shifts, 4 days in, 4 days out when I started. And then as I moved into the roles, I was able to find jobs that allowed me to work from home, jobs that allowed me to network and go to conferences. I'm in very great roles, so long hours, but which career doesn't have long hours? Right now you are at work, you're working on a Sunday, but because you love your job, you do what you need to do. So I know a lot of people don't go in because they go, it's so difficult, how will I understand the terms? But which career isn't? You just have to give yourself time to learn what the career demands of you, the different the different skills that you need, and just work hard at that. And nothing happens without giving it time. In time, when you look back, you'll be like, I don't know what a seam solution is, but now I do. And now I'm able to command respect in the rooms that I walk in. I'm able to converse with my colleagues around attacks or malware or new threat actor groups that are targeting certain companies, but that happens with time, that happens with learning. You can't just go into a field and think you know it all. You need to learn from the people that have been doing it longer than you, and listen to them and what they're saying. And if you don't understand, you go and research and say, I didn't understand what my boss was talking about today. Let me go research it and understand it, And we've got a wealth of information now, not like back when I was getting in. We've got YouTubes, we've got TikTok now. There's so much content around my field. So I definitely encourage especially young women. And please don't say I'm biased because I'm a woman, but especially young women.
Why young women though?
To get into the field. You know what? What's difficult is that in rooms that I find myself in, I'm either one of two women or the only woman.
Ooh, okay. Because I always hear about this to say get women in tech. And I'm thinking, but is there a specific field in tech, or is it just generally in tech? So hearing you say that you're either one of two or the only one, it's quite interesting, really.
Yeah, I think the stats are shocking. Companies also want to hire women, but I don't think a lot of women want to get or are looking to move into those fields because they think it's difficult to get in, or the work is actually difficult itself. But companies do want to employ. It's not difficult. If I could do it, anybody can. I wasn't the toppest student in my class, so it shows that you don't have to be the brightest minds in South Africa. You just need to really work hard.
Don't say that. Oprah is not gonna like that. I'm kidding.
I'm being humble, but yes.
Oh man. Okay, Vanessa, thank you so much for chatting to us this morning. How can people align and be a friend on social media? Like, where do they find you?
I am on LinkedIn. If you would like to ask me any questions, it's Vanessa Sikati on LinkedIn. I'm not a very social media centric person, but you can find me on Instagram as well.
All right. Thank you. May you have a fantastic Sunday going forward, Vanessa.
Thank you so much for having me. Same to you.
And that is my guest, the last guest of this particular hour. It's Vanessa Sikati, who is Cybersecurity Service Manager at Standard Bank, at the Standard Bank Group. Halala, doing the most out there at the age of 30. She's part of management and sitting in rooms that she says sometimes she's the only lady, or some other times she's one of the other two. So there is a very big gap that still needs to be filled there, and cybersecurity having not even young, I think ladies still, to pursue a career in that field. So maybe I must also, because I've been thinking, what's my next? Maybe that's my next. Who knows? And she did say, guys, don't have this misconception that, you need to have straight A's, your maths must be this. But no, give it a try. It's not what you think it is. If you do research and you do it, you might find out actually you were wrong. It is now 8 minutes before top of the hour, 11 o'clock. Central African time. Matapelo Mahape will come back at 11 to give you the last bulletin of the morning, and we're going to make our way to 12 p.m. midday, where I'm going to leave you with Matsepo on Planting the Seed, and we are going to cruise nicely on Tech Africa this morning with music and tech conversations. I spoke about the Durban July. There is a cell phone brand that has got all things you need for those beautiful Durban July snaps, reel, whatever that people do when they go to Durban July. I personally have not been there, so I love living vicariously through other people that go there, because first of all, I don't have to worry about the traffic and the roadblocks. And then still when you get there, there's a lot. There's just a lot. So if you're scrolling through, you bypass all of that. You get to the point. So we're going to be talking to a cell phone brand that is in partnership with the Durban July after 11 o'clock, but we're also having a conversation about how to trade successfully and what you should look out for to make sure that you don't find yourself falling victim to those scammers who are there to steal your cryptocurrency online. That's happening after 11 o'clock. So let's say once again, take time to catch up in terms of if you missed the first hour of the show, you can catch clippings on social media or on our YouTube channel. And for those that have just joined in, this is happening 24/7. Hey, you'll catch Channel Africa on the air 24/7, also virtually streaming live 24/7.
June is Youth Month in South Africa. Celebrate Africa's young voices with us. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Tech Africa, the African perspective.
Wamubona Maria Pempese, Wamubona Maria Gigise. Afaba beba doro peni kuwe mulumu zana awo mutin. Afaba beba doro peni kuwe mulumu zana awo mutin. Washibona Maria Pempese, Washibona Maria Gigise. Shifama shibeba doro peni kuwe mulumu zana awo mutin. Shifama shibusa doro peni kuwe mulumu zana awo mutin. Chomi wangu niwone lisati wa mini kampumo. Chomi wangu niwone lifazi wa mini katembe. Ashikangi kaya shogila la mama no. Ava yake la nivosha malamanya la lawo. Ava satikulozi go yula tingano. Washibona Maria Pempeseco, Washibona Maria Gigisek, Shifama Shipebadoro, Peniguve Mulumu, Zana Shioku Mutin, Shifama Shipotadoro, Peniguve Mulumu, Zana Shioku Mutin. Chomi wango, Nivone Lisati wa mini katembe. Chomi wango, Nivone Lifazi wa mini kagasho. Chomi wango, Nivone Lifazi wa mini vilene. Chomi wango, Nivone Lisati wa mini kampumu. Mulumuzana wakamani vongo dambilu kusala shikambo. 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 Washimona Maria Pepe Seco, Washimona Maria Gig Seca, Chifamba Chipotadoro, Pene Cube Mulumu, Zana Chiobumutin, Chifamba Chitaguadoro, Pene Cube Mulumu, Zana Chiobumutin. Chomi chomi wango, nivone nisati wamini katembe. Chomi chomi wango, nivone nisati wamini kamfumo. Ashikangi kaya so vile la mama no. Ava yake la nivo shama la maya balalo. Ava satkulo tigo yula tingano. Ashikangi kaya so vile la mama no. Ava yake la nivo shama la maya balalo. Ava satkulo tigo yula tingano. Ashikangi kaya so vile la mama no. Ava yake la nivo shama.
Tech Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Circling down, don't even know. Looking for someone to get me out the door. You got me dumbfound. Need a bit more than telling me how we gon' be affected. Oh, there's something about the way you make me feel. Something about the way you made me kneel. Something about the way that we could be messing us up. Nearly got me waiting outside. You got me going. I don't even know your last name, but you got me like. Name, but you got me like, you better go sign a waiver, cause I'ma violate you and then more. Telling me how we gon' bang bang and get the ring more, doing less talking. So many try to get inside my feels, but nobody got it, but better sign that deal. Nearly got me sticking around, maybe there's something about you, about something about the way you make me feel, something about the way you made me kneel, something about the way that we could be messing us up. Nearly got me waiting outside. You got me going. I don't even know your last name, but you got me like. I don't even know your last name, but you got me like. I don't even know your last name, but you got me like.
SABC News. The African perspective.
Top stories this hour. Ugandan president plans to contest the 2026 presidential elections, and southern Europe is scorched by heat wave. Good morning. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has confirmed his intention to contest the next year's presidential elections. Museveni, who has been ruler since 1986, has been accused of using security forces and patronage to maintain his grip on power. He is seeking another term in office to grow Uganda's economy to a $500 billion in the next years. The country will hold its presidential parliamentary polls next year. In January, Museveni's closest opponent will be pop star turned politician Bobi Wine, who came second in the last presidential elections in 2021 and has already confirmed his intentions to run in 2026. Wine, whose real name is Robert Kyagulanyi, rejected the 2021 results, claiming his victory was stolen through ballot stuffing, intimidation by security forces, and other irregularities. And the signing of a U.S. brokered peace agreement between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda has been met with mixed reactions among Congolese citizens, with some expressing support for the deal while others are opposed to it. The agreement was signed in in the U.S. capital of Washington, D.C. last Friday. Chris Okamrenga reports.
The DRC has long accused Rwanda of backing the M23 rebels in order to plunder its minerals. But Rwandan authorities have denied the charge and accused the DRC of backing a militia of ethnic Hutus who seek to destabilize their country. For some Congolese, the deal has raised hopes of ending the M23 conflict that has left thousands of people dead and displaced millions of others since late 2021. But others are pessimistic, arguing that the deal focuses more on the geopolitical, security and economic interests of Rwanda and the US as opposed to the protection of Congolese civilians. The US government is set to sign a separate deal with the DRC that will grant American firms access to the DRC's strategic minerals.
And South African government has given the public until tomorrow to submit the comments on the review of the 1998 White Paper on Local Government. The review is aimed at modernizing the 1998 White Paper to address the current challenges of facing municipalities and ensure effective local governance in the country. The process comes as most municipalities are plagued by revenue collection challenges, corruption and the politicization of municipalities, among others. Sabelo Chalufu is a local government expert and a former Johannesburg councillor.
There's a problem with the interface between politicians, the administrators, and the residents. And one of the big elements in that problem is that it's almost like the politicians seem to believe that they are all powerful. And so they end up attempting to do the work of the administrators instead of exercising oversight over them. So you find councillors instructing officials instead of, for instance, facilitating things like, when there are service delivery breakdowns.
And South Africa's police have launched a manhunt for gunmen who shot and killed 7 people in the Cape Flats in Cape Town over the weekend. The incident occurred in the early hours of Saturday. Police say the victims, aged 26 and 30, were socializing in the kitchen when they were ambushed by unknown assailants. Police suspect that the incident could be gang and extortion related. 3 other men who were asleep elsewhere in the house at the time of the attack escaped unharmed. And people in southern Europe are bracing themselves for another day of extreme temperatures. Countries further north of the continent are also expected to suffer from unseasonably high temperatures. Wildfires have already struck some parts of Europe, including Greece, where coastal towns near the capital Athens erupted in flames that destroyed homes, forcing people to evacuate. The BBC's Guy Hedgecoe has the details.
The first heat wave of the summer has seen sweltering temperatures across Spain and Portugal as a mass of hot air pushes up from North Africa. Many areas of Italy and the south of France are also on alert because of the heat. Heat waves in southern Europe are common in July and August, although they've become more frequent earlier in the year. The Spanish Weather Agency expects this to be the hottest June on record. The heat wave is forecast to peak today in many places, although the high temperatures are predicted to continue into next week.
A recap of your top story. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni plans to contest the 2026 presidential election, potentially extending his rule for nearly half a century. He aims to grow Uganda's economy to $500 billion in 5 years with close opponent Bobi Wine. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I am Matapara Mahape.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
This one is the last stretch as we make our way out, and we just kick-started the third hour of Tech Africa this morning on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. I'm still Puleng Molebatsi. That much has not changed. One thing that has changed, though, is that there's definitely not going to be news from now on. Just for the day. Matapela Mahape is also making her way home, so she's done for the day. And what else has changed? Yeah, conversation is also just going to shift a little bit, and we're going to be talking about the latest release by a cell phone brand called Honor. And this week we're going to talk about the phone itself with my guest, who's going to be joining me in a matter of minutes. And we're also going to be talking to a representative from Octatrade, just to give you, if you are into trading, how you can trade successfully. I've heard so many stories. I don't know do you also follow that TikToker guy, Ray Williams? He's shared quite a lot of stories about people who've stolen Bitcoin. And I'm like, the risk. So with every investment, of course, there is risk. So if you are into online trading and you trade Bitcoin and you want to go about it the safe way, we're going to be talking to a representative from Octa Trading who's going to tell you what you can look out for. And if you find yourself in a sticky situation, how can you unstick yourself? Remember, we are on social media at Channel Africa 1, but also on WhatsApp at +27 63 406 9126. That's our WhatsApp line. You can find us there, and you can also stream us at www.channelafrica.co.za or on YouTube right now at Channel Africa. And also you can find us on the SABC Plus app, on the DSTV channel 802 on the audio bouquet side of things. Here's a track called Fire, and it is the original of South Sudan sound, and it is by Jamie Dunn.
Mix Vibration sur Channel Africa.
C'est notre invitée du jour, la belle Aïna Mwenze. Elle est là. Certaines l'appellent Boss Lady.
Bonjour Monsieur Jolino.
Parlez-nous un tout petit peu de vous.
Je m'appelle Boss Lady Aïna. Je mets l'accent sur le nom de Boss Lady parce que je mérite cela après le travail fait. Et c'est une rémunération en titre de la personne que je suis devenue aujourd'hui. Épouse et une mère de 4 garçons. Et voilà ce que je peux dire pour l'instant.
Et vous vous êtes lancé dans le business. Comment c'est venu?
En tant que mère et se retrouvant dans les pays étrangers, particulièrement en Afrique du Sud, je me disais que laisser les enfants sur la charge des travailleurs ou d'une bonne, ça serait pas très intéressant. Je me dis, je dois essayer de m'organiser et trouver un emploi que je peux faire.
Mix Vibration, tous les dimanches de 18h à 19h, temps universel.
Tech Africa every Sunday, 9 till 12 noon, Central African Time.
Shella, done. I'm a cowboy pandis. Wake up. I want a girl with the wickedest wine. The kind of girl who da mash up in my ear. And if you want South Sudanese boy, Talibes, yeah. The girl, you are fire. I swear you are better than them. Me girl, you are hotter than them. Cause I'm better to the Jamili, you want my day. Baby, pujin chirmai. Near the dinner in a deal. Hello, I do Jamili. Nairandi and then Najain. Me girl, you are fire. I swear you are better than them. Me girl, you are hotter than them. Cause I'm better to the Jamili, you want my day. Baby girl, you know. Oh, baby girl, you know. Big shall I love you. Make it count like 1, 2, 4. Beat your body up like a drum roll. Now Mr. Big Nina make this song go. Get your miara then your baby. Bayin panga. Oh, inja control. So pure, inja control. Near dukin kachanok. Near dukin kachajor. Swear to God, we love ya. Napelen kabario. Alwele slatin. Wake up. Kedina pure achajalting.
Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique, with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice. Africa is a story. A living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a star.
Fandingo Joshua, and the song is called Nkabaile, bringing us to exactly 17 minutes past 11 Central African time. Now, this year has already seen Honor make waves with the 400 light and the ultra durable X9C, but now the main event has arrived, fresh off a high octave launch at the Kyalami Grand Prix Circus. Honor has officially unveiled the game-changing Honor 400, and we're going to unpack what it has in store for the people of who actually love and adore the brand. My colleagues gave you a bit of a sneak peek in terms of what this phone has in store, but we're going to be talking now to Fred, who's going to unpack exactly what these features are meant to do for you. By the way, worth mentioning, Honor cell phone brand is actually number 2 in South Africa when it comes to Android mobile devices. So it has grown in leaps and bounds. Good morning, Fred.
Morning. Good morning, Puleng.
Thank you so much for talking.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for talking to us this morning on Tech Africa. This is Mr. Fred Zoe from Honor, and he is the CEO of Honor South Africa. Okay, so I mean, being the second largest cell phone brand in South Africa, that's a big one, hey?
Yes. So for the last 2 years, we have made some milestones, and according to GfK, in April we officially become the top 2 smartphone brand in South Africa.
Oh wow! I mean, the number 1, I'm sure everybody can guess. So because you're fairly new in SA, to be number 2, it means you've done quite a lot of work. What do you think the South African market is looking for when they purchase a cell phone? Is it affordability or is it convenience?
So from our side, from Honor side, we always believe different customers have different requirements. So for example, for some early birds, they were looking for the cutting edge innovation technologies. So we provide the consumers with Magic Series, and there is like a lot of content creators. They want to have like a combination with innovation and also the design. So that's why we provide the Honor 400 and Honor 400 Pro, the Honor number series. That is a perfect combination product to meet the requirement, no matter from like hardware spec, AI spec, and also the design of the model, design of the phones. And for the entry level also customers, we also can provide them like the X series. So it's a combination about durability and affordability. But that's not all. We also have AI functions which designed for the flagship can also drop to Honor X series and give the consumers an experience about advanced AI.
Absolutely. In terms of a specific demographic, Fred, maybe is it students or young professionals or creatives where Honor is seeing a particular growth? Is there a specific demographic that's taken liking to the brand?
I think we get the consumers actually right now from different areas. For the number series, yes, the majority of the consumer is content creators and also the fashion lover who have a pursuit in the fashion part. And the X series, we have also get a lot of students. He don't have very big affordabilities, but the X series actually meet all the requirements from their side. So I would say both party we start to have some intake from customers, and also Magic series. Yeah, the early birds, the technical thief, yeah, they do really like our foldables and our Magic series models.
Fred, you spoke about fashion. Maybe someone is into fashion and they want to be able to capture their best. I mean, what is your involvement with the Durban July as a brand this year?
So next week we will have the Durban July. We know that's the biggest festival in South Africa for Durban. So Honor will participate, will cooperate with several KOLs like DJ Tira and DJ Maporisa. And we will have a marquee and we have a showcase for all the product on site. So the people can have a show about their fashions and enjoy Honor with Honor together.
Okay, now that sounds very exciting. And just before we wrap up our conversation, Honor was once part of Huawei, and many people still kind of see the relationship between the two. How is Honor now carving out of that, perspective or the landscape that they have created when they were together with Huawei? How have you branched out successfully?
Actually, Honor become an independent company 4.5 years ago. So we become totally independent, and we have a very good cooperations with Google. So all our phones come with Android system, Android 15, and then at the same time we also have the cooperations with the suppliers or chipset like Qualcomm and other suppliers as well. So we are a very open companies, and we want to have an open relationship with all the main suppliers and the players in the market. So it's once we become independent, that's the way we want to go. Become an open company and provide the necessary functions and necessary support to all the consumers.
So Fred, this one is definitely the last one. What stands out with the Honor 400 Pro? Is it the AI feature? What's that feature that stands out the most?
From my side, I would say, the hardware of Honor 400 and Honor 400 Pro, both of them have 200 million pixel cameras with a big sensor. So that's the hardware side can provide or make sure that the quality of the picture is fabulous. And meanwhile, all the AI functions, which I like, for example, which I like most, is the AI image to video. So can easily transfer the pictures the consumer take with long click, and it will automatically transfer into a picture, into a video.
Oh, okay.
Very, very interesting. And it can be used as the creativities. So I think both hardware part and software part make the Honor 400 Pro and 400 out. And also for content creators, they don't need to worry about the batteries issues and everything, because with a small slim body for Honor 400 and 400 Pro, it provides 6,000 milliampere batteries. That means the consumers, the content creators, can use the phone for a whole day without a charge.
All right, Fred. Thank you so much once again for talking to us this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Right. That's Fred Zoe, who is CEO of Honor South Africa. That brings us now to 11:26 Central African Time. We're going to have one last conversation there with a representative from Octa FS, that is a trading company for those that are into crypto trading. And you know what? As much as we've also heard about the negative side of this, also the positive side of it. There are people who have been smart enough to trade responsibly and learn the right channels of going about it. So I think today it will be very good to kind of focus on the positive. We can't always be warning people about all these people that are out to get your money. It's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. Unfortunately, trading is not going anywhere. But how can you go about it successfully, and what should you be aware of when you venture into crypto trading? That's coming up shortly after this.
Call us on +27 63 406 9126.
I can see my whole world changing.
And contribute to the conversation. Her name is Puleng Molebatsi, and she's on Tech Africa. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. for business, for culture, for Africa. Partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity with 25...
Identité, Yuda Teka Yesu. Zalafali kotona na bango, Yuda Teka Yesu. Ale mamesoko, alambili mondo.
It is a 207. It's a track that is loaded with creativity and geniusness in the music side of things. Fally Ipupa is back again in this hour, and this time he's featuring Renee Sonso, and it's a remix of that song called 207, and it brings us now to 11:33 Central African Time. We are just a couple of minutes away until we say goodbye to you. And we pick up again with you again next week, Sunday, which will be a brand new month. And as you know, most every brand new month, I always come up with brand new things. So yeah, I always look forward to fresh starts. So I'm particularly excited about that one. Here is something that I would like to draw your attention to, and it's that conversation about trading carefully online. As AI technology becomes more sophisticated, so do the scams that come with it. In a chilling new trend, fraudsters are now using deep fake videos, and then they're very realistic, but fake videos which are created using AI. I'm sure you've seen them. I've believed some of them, and I'm so embarrassed to confess to that. I couldn't have known that video. I thought it was real, and I went and I shared it because it looks so it's so real. That's why they're called deepfakes, because they're really good. Like, they got me good, but thank God I wasn't scammed, and I wasn't scamming anyone. But anyway, back to this one. So these videos are also used to impersonate high-profile leaders like President Cyril Ramaphosa and Patrice Motsepe. And they used to lure unsuspecting South Africans into fraudulent investment. And these schemes can really get you where even the voice can sound so realistic. Now, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, the FSCA, has issued a public warning about these scams, which are targeting traders and the general public with the promise of guaranteed returns and fake training platforms. Now, to help us unpack this worrying trend and share tips on how you can stay safe and how you can continue to trade and be extra vigilant online, is MJ Given Kasi, who is an analyst at International Broker at Okta a licensed platform offering commission-free access to global financial market. Hi, MJ. How are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm doing great. Ish, these deep fakes have also got me, hey? And it was later on when I see more and more videos similar to that one that I've shared. And I'm like, I couldn't have known that was a deep fake.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you're not the only one. It really looks authentic when you look at it from a distance. But yeah, unfortunately, we have a lot of people that have been taken for a ride with these scams.
Okay, so let's get into the basics now with deepfake scams and how it is being used to financially lure individuals to invest in platforms that don't exist. And scammers are actually using that, I've referred to earlier on, that they use popular figures. I know I've seen one with Elon Musk talking about investing in so-and-so's company. How do I know that this is a deep fake? And what must I do if I suspect or this is not right?
Well, look, I think what is important is that we need to understand how this is executed first, right? So we're seeing that most of the scammers are not sending your shady links like back in the days. The use of artificial intelligence right now create deepfake videos for trusted figures, as you have mentioned, like your business people like Motsepe and President Cyril Ramaphosa, claiming that they've made money from investment platforms, right? It looks real, but it's so dangerous. But I think what is important is also ensure that if it's too good to be true, then it is. You understand? Unrealistic returns. So what they tend to do is they will come in a form of, we want to give back. I'm sure the one you've seen about Elon Musk, he appeared as if he's giving back to the nation in which he was born in, and he wants to make returns for individuals that are going to invest in this type of scams. And the returns are obviously ridiculously too high. I mean, in a week, they can promise you a 300% return. And, that is a serious red flag there.
So you are right. If it looks and feels too good, it really is. But man, we are ducking and diving through all kinds of things online. It's crazy with these videos. And now with technology, it's so easy for them to make. So I just want to look at what the FSCA has raised, which was serious alarm bells. What are the most concerning tactics that fraudsters are currently using to trick people, in addition to what we've discussed?
Yeah, links at social media platforms as well. You would often get a link from your email or WhatsApp, somebody claiming to come from a certain broker, coming from a certain investment institution, where you have to press on the link and register. And it's either you're going to learn how to trade, or it's going to be an investment, or you can buy and sell crypto. So that's what is popular right now on the ground. But the one of DeepSeek, I think, is the one that is taking charge now. I mean, if you go on TikTok, you would see that even Bible verses now, they're being used like AI. So I think we also need to adopt this culture of using technology against technology. And what I mean by that is, if you take a video, you take a picture, you can also use AI to check how authentic it is. You can simply go on ChatGPT and take a picture that you saw somewhere and just put a prompt there. How authentic is this? And from there, you can see it can give you even red flags from what you have uploaded. So yeah, that's what we are seeing on the ground lately. Unrealistic returns, signing up, and a pressure tactic. And it's unfortunate that even celebrities are being used. Social media influencers are also being used for scams. They partner with brokers and investment companies. I mean, a social media influencer might not be even aware that, look, this is not a legitimate company. They come, they approach you. Can you market this on our behalf? Well, obviously, it's business on their side, and they do so, right? And that's why people, when they put a picture with a brand, it looks legit.
Yeah.
And then that's where people are getting caught.
Sure. And then what can someone do if they suspect that they've been approached by a scammer, or worse, have already been scammed, due to these deepfake, they've already sent money to these deepfake platforms?
Yeah, well, look, I think the most important thing is if you are being scammed, report your case and open a case with the South African Police Service. Go to also the extent of going to the FSCA website, lodge a dispute there or a complaint, and ensure that you put an FSP number of that particular company that has been scamming you. What you can also do is that you can also refer to your banks, because it's sometimes possible that your bank can reverse payment if it's early enough, right? But honestly, the most important thing is awareness. We need to educate people as much as we can, and harder in that effect that scammers are there to trick you, and you just need to know the dynamics around it. And that's why we take pride in, as Octa Broker, to provide as much education as possible. It's not about just doing and engaging in business, but is to also provide a responsible conduct out there as far as trading is concerned.
So then, how did is it even realistic to have the perception that we can actually stay ahead of scammers? And how important is it rather to have more and more public awareness and education, in order to try and stay ahead of the online scams?
Well, I think what is also important is that we gotta admit that every industry has a problem of crime, especially in South Africa. So we have seen the what you call the White House debate, if lack of a better word, with the presidents about crime in South Africa, right? And trading in particular is also one of the leading industry when it comes to scamming. But education, as far as I've mentioned, trading is normally being seen as something that you can do when you're bored, or when you're unemployed, or when you just want to make quick cash, or just an investment. But the reality of things is this is a business. This can be taken as a business. It can be taken as a career, where one can live out of it, right? There are a lot of people that have been surviving from trading, and it's not like back in the days. I mean, back in the days, it was always on an institutional level, but with the use of technology now and how the industry is evolving, anybody can be actively involved in trading as long as you are 18 years and older. But you need to answer these questions when you get into this space. What are you trading? Why are you entering into trades, and what do you want to make out of this business, right? There are university courses that one can take to embark on this journey. There are short courses that one can take. It's not only the Instagram glitz and glamour that most people always see, that, oh, this is a trade, is driving a sports car, therefore I think I know how my future will look like. There are a lot of people that are really pushing serious portfolios within the space, and nobody knows anything about. People that are qualified, people that are very knowledgeable, and they have a good educational background. So even parents, I'm encouraging parents that, look, if you're having children that wants to embark on this, make as much research as you can about educational platforms that one can use to get into this space. When I got into trading, I can be honest with you, my parents were not really impressed. But, coming with the university degree, I managed to stay in the banking space and divert now from institutional trading to retail trading. And this is what I'm doing now. And we can see a lot of lives being changed by this type of business.
Okay, so you think with your story particularly, just to say I'm going to trade, they were saying, but why would you leave? So you were in a job, but still trading for a bank. Is that what you're saying? Then you left to trade independently.
Yeah, so I was not trading for a bank, but that's why I got introduced in trading from a banking perspective. So I was a business consultant, and I would realize that there are many people that are coming in the banking space, and these people look wealthy. They normally get this cappuccino. Exactly. They're getting special treatment, and you would ask yourself, why are we having these people go into a certain office, and only to find out these are the people that are making certain investments, and look, their money was being traded for, and we're talking of large sums of money, right? Then that's where I got interested to make research that, okay, fine, I know that I don't have maybe the qualification or the license to trade that kind of money, but can I really trade for myself? And only to find out at the retail level, which is the CFD platform, right? Contract for difference. You can simply do it at your own comfort of your home or your office or wherever you can be, from your phone, from your laptop, right? Trading your own funds. But I also have to mention that it gets now dangerous when you start thinking that you know a lot, and you start asking during Christmas meetup with your family, you start asking aunties and uncles
to invest
for their money, to say, please invest, I'm going to trade for you. If you are not licensed to do so, then that is also particularly a scam, because you are not allowed to do so. You can trade only your funds, right? But
if
you
I see
are
someone
licensed,
doing that, am I allowed to report them if they're not licensed?
Absolutely. So, but the first thing I think you need to do is ask them if they have an FSP number, right, from the FSCA. And if they cannot produce them, you can simply go on the FSCA website and put in their details, their company name. And if they are not appearing, then you can report a certain individual to the FSCA that, look, so-and-so is offering the services and I don't think they are licensed. Can you please launch an investigation so that you can also bring awareness on the ground? So absolutely you can do. And that is a very responsible, I think we also, consumers also need to play a responsible role, not just to fall into scams because they want to make quick money or they want to change their lives quickly. Make research, ask as many questions as possible. The FSCA is out there. Brokers like Okta, they are also out there for you to engage with them, ask certain questions that you can. Individuals like myself, we are also there. We are live streaming on YouTube on daily basis to answer those questions that people can have with regards to compliance, taxation, and the trading itself.
Okay, so just to kind of sum it up, you can get someone to trade for you if they're licensed to do that.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. If it's a company that is licensed to do so, or it's an individual, you can do so. Sometimes an individual can be under a certain license. So yeah, they can trade for you if they are licensed to do so. They can give a financial advice as well. And this is another one that we normally see again on the ground. Not everybody can wake up in the morning and tell you that, look, Iran is fighting with Israel, therefore go buy gold, buy at $3,300 an ounce. Not just anybody can do that. You need to also have a license to give financial advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, people usually think to trade, you need to trade successfully or to invest your money in a way that it will have returns is to put, I don't know, like a lucrative sum. Can I go to a qualified institution then and give them like 200 to trade for me?
200, you meant 200,000 or 200 rands?
200 rand. How? Patung. I mean,
okay.
Also, so this industry is discriminating then on us with I'm at 200s.
No, not really. It's a very good question, by the way, because I'm sure listeners are also thinking, look, I can hear this gentleman speaking, but I've got 200, my last 200, then I really want to make something out of it. We are going to be realistic. Like I mentioned, this can be taken as a career, an investment portfolio, as well as a career, right? You looking at an institution, a proper institution that can be willing to give you 25% on return per annum. So you're going to look at how much is 25% of 200 rands in 12 months, right? Unfortunately, you would have different companies that will say minimum will be this much, right?
Yeah.
What I would say to somebody with 200 rands, I would simply say, look, you can look into shares, buying shares. I mean, there are some shares that are relatively cheap to buy, right? Go on the JSE, and look at the shares that you can buy that are relatively cheap right now. And just buy those shares. I mean, if it's a share is 180, it's 200, just buy it and leave it there and see. But don't expect the ridiculous amount of money to be given to you in a week. It will take time, because remember, shares also have to materialize. They have to appreciate as well. And you can also lose that 200 rand. I mean, if you're looking at people that have invested in a stock portfolio like Capitec back in the days, they could have made a lot of money. Bitcoin, by the way, if you bought Bitcoin in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was around 200 and something. If you bought it back then, you could be a millionaire today.
Yeah.
You see, but it took years, you understand? It took so many years.
Yeah.
And it has obviously the pros and the cons. You can simply lose that money at the end of the day. It's not only guaranteed that you're gonna make money out of trading. Like any other business, if I wake up and start selling tomatoes on the streets, I'm not guaranteed returns, but I'm going to calculate my risk and understand what is my margin of operating this business and utilizing the resources that I can have to maximize profits. It's like any other business.
All right, we're going to have to end our conversation here today, but very insightful, I must say. So I'm going to keep my 200 rand. I'll buy myself takeaway. Stay out of other people's business and with my 200. No, it's because, you know why I brought that up? It's because these trading apps, they say, you can trade from as little as 200 rand. And I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know anything. I'm most likely to lose that 200. You know what I mean?
No, that is true. No, that is relatively true. Remember when they say start from 200, that they simply means that is a minimum deposit, right? And they can do so also to work on your psychology. I mean, if you put real money and you're practicing with the 200, it can go a long way. I mean, if you're looking at that 25, if you can calculate 25% from 200 rands, then definitely you can calculate 25% from 20,000 rands. Once you have gained experience, you now understand the also emotional side of doing things. So definitely you can start with 200, but what I'm saying is don't expect a lot from that 200.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you once again for chatting to us on Tech Africa. May you have a fantastic Sunday going forward.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Also, good afternoon to the listeners.
All right. And that's my guest this morning, Mr. Given Khasi, who is an analyst at International Broker Okta this morning. And that conversation brings us now to just 7 minutes before top of the hour, 12 midday. 12, it's planting the seed from 12 to 2 with Matek Omosito. And for me, I'm going to be out. But I'm back. Weekends are for me. The 9 to 12, we are the 9 to 12 squad. We do it on Saturdays with lifestyle and entertainment. And then on Sunday, I'm the teacher. I'm the mistress. Well, you know what I'm saying? I'm the teacher in class, teaching all about all things that have to do with technology. And this was quite cool. This was quite cool and very insightful. It felt like I was chatting to a peer of mine about trading without being judged, without being spoken above of. When you talk about trading, you want someone that can meet me at my level. It's not my cup of tea, so meet me at my level so I can have a conversation that is going to empower me as well. So I think actually it's one of the things I will be considering as I grow. As you grow older, you learn the importance of investing in yourself in many different ways. And maybe this one of investing in yourself by taking that money that you have, approaching a licensed, credible organization. They'll trade for you, and when you go to the bank, you'll be offered special kind of door and entrance, Yes. Okay, let's go to Amanda Black now with a song called Power, and that will probably be the last song that I'm taking for you today. The last song for Tech Africa, and maybe then it will also be an opportunity for me to say goodbye right now while we are still in good terms. So well. You're still enjoying my company. And I'll see you again next week, Sunday, right here on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Until then, bye-bye.